What's going on, everybody? The Island Ricks TV2 back with another video. And in today's video, we're going to talk about Brian Custer interview that he did on the Last Stand podcast with Danny Garcia. And we're going to talk about also the contract, the deal is being close to done. Everybody is predicting that or assuming that the fight is going to take place in October, right? So Danny Garcia was on the Last Stand podcast, and he was asked about the fight versus Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford. But before he transitioned into that, he spoke about his fight with Errol Spence. And to me, it sounded as though he didn't want to admit that he got beat all 12 rounds or got beat throughout the entire fight. But I'm going to let you guys hear what Danny Garcia had to say. Hear this audio clip, and we're going to be back. So, to me, if you guys could read in between the lines and read body language and just kind of like, just cut to the chase, right? Just get right to it. If you actually read between the lines, in so many words, Danny Garcia is saying that Earl Spence beat the shit out of me. Like, just simple as that. He beat the living shit out of me, right? But he doesn't want to admit that. It's just like his ego, and it just won't, that competitive side won't allow him to admit the truth that Earl Spence just beat the brakes off of him. He don't want to admit that. So he has to say I think it was a competitive fight. He says that, what a lot of fighters have been saying, that it looks easy on the outside looking in. But when you in there, Earl Spence is throwing so many variety of punches. His punch rate is so high. He's just continue to just keep working and working and working. And not to mention that he's just working, there's a lot of power shots. There's a lot of technique. There's a lot of, strategy to what he does. He's a phenomenal fighter, and he doesn't get credit for his his boxing IQ. So on the outside looking in, you think that when you get in there, oh, I can do this, I can do that. And, I got to respond to someone who commented on my post where I think they said that I was saying that Danny Garcia is the best counterpuncher ever. No, I never said that. And if I did say that, I was probably talking on my head that day. But, I may have said that Danny Garcia was one of the best counterpunchers. I didn't say that he was the best, So, and a lot of people, they don't even watch the full videos that I do. They just, are Terrence Crawford fans, and they just looking for something to nitpick so they can be like, oh, you said this and that. Like, but as I said, man, that fight, when you go back and watch Earl Spence versus Danny Garcia fight, you see that Earl Spence did a great job at timing Danny Garcia. As someone said, he out countered the counter puncher. So Earl Spence was, to me, the fight wasn't as bad as people say it was. Like, that was a really great fight. And especially considering the circumstances. This man just came off a car crash, and Danny Garcia was his tune-up. But you could tell that there's mutual respect there, though. He has a lot of respect for Earl Spence, even sitting next to Earl Spence at the Gervonta Davis versus Rolando Romero fight, right? So you could tell that they gained some respect there. And Danny Garcia is, to me, he could just throw that out the window. It's corny to hear him say, oh, well, I just, it's all about timing, and, I fought Earl Spence at the right time. You picked the right time to lose. That's all that was. Like, you picked the right time to lose, my boy. Like, that's it. But that fight wasn't as competitive as he knows that. Because if you go watch the post-fight, the press conference, the post-fight press conference, right? Danny Garcia's father, Angel Garcia, no, Danny. He was like, no, like Danny Garcia, like, nigga, I got my ass beat. No, Danny, that's not what happened. Did he keep telling y'all that? And he think, like, he's being hard on himself. But if he would have just listened, if Danny would have just listened, oh, nigga, he got his ass beat, bruh. He did. He lost. He got crushed. He got demolished for he got shut out, bruh. Just about. So Angel Garcia was trying to, reassure and trying to reinforce in his son that, listen, you didn't get beaten, just in case you want to get a rematch. Like, he just kept saying, Errol Spence was the better man tonight. I got this big ass abrasion on my eye. Like, nigga, I got a black eye. This nigga almost took my eyeball. Like, you telling me to sit up here to say something that I don't even believe is true. So, and he also talked about Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford fight. He never really gave a confirm. He never really